I just want the whole audience to know this unicorn, since we won't say anyone's gender, this unicorn hasn't read the bill, but has a big mouth to talk about it. This unicorn hasn't read the damn bill, but wants to come up in my space where I'm actually passionate about the issue, waste all of our time, who took the time to have this little conversation. He was gonna weigh in on something he hasn't effing read. Welcome to the left. Hasn't even read the bill, but has the loudest opinion of anyone in the space. Loudest opinion of anyone in the space. So, Cora, I'm not going to interrupt you. Don't you dare try me. You will be out of the space if you make a comment to me. Do you understand? This space is a dictatorship. You will not. So I want you to weigh in on the bill. But before he goes, I'd like everyone to know this is Cora weighing in on a bill that they haven't read.
It's a Z-them, by the way, just letting you know.
He.
Okay, that's pretty offensive, but fine.
He. This is him weighing in on a bill he hasn't fucking read.
All right. Interesting how you said I was the loudest mouth, but that's clear.
Weigh in on the effing bill or get the fuck out of my space. Weigh in on the bill or get the fuck out of my space. Listen, I don't cuss, but you're not gonna mess with our kids. You're not coming for our children. That's one thing you won't do. I don't even have a kid yet. I have nieces. Like a step nephew. I don't really see. I have nieces. Oh my gosh, I'll be damned before I let these fools come after them. I'll be fucking damned.
Okay, can I have next? I don't know if Cora wants to continue or whatever.
Cora, would you like to weigh in on the bill that you haven't read, or would you like to spare the rest of the small bit of intelligence that you may have?
I think the bill is good because it protects young people, LGBT people. It's quite good. Also, you're cursing on Lent, by the way. You're going to go to hell.
Cora, with the person, Cora, Mister, you haven't even figured out your gender, and you go by Zer, and you grew up in some quote unquote homophobic household. You are in no place to be determining who goes to hell and who doesn't. You better focusing on what bathroom you should be going into before you fucking come for me. Focus on what bathroom you're supposed to go into before you come for me. Boo.
Listen, Allah is guiding me to the correct bathroom every single time. I don't have to worry about
I hope they are. You don't even know your fucking pronouns. And you're telling me you're talking about hell and heaven and Allah this and Allah that. Guess what? You don't even know what bathroom you're supposed to go into. Try me again.
You're getting kind of can you calm down a little bit? This conversation is not being very civil, by the way.
No, not when you come for kids, Cora. Not when you come for kids. We're not calming down, and we'll see you in November at the voting booths. We'll see you at the polls.
But aren't
when
all
you come
LGBT
for the
people coming for kids?
When you come for the kids, we're not calming down. We're not calming down. Oh, and have y'all been calm marching through the state capitol and holding gay protests at school? Have y'all been calm? Not even reading the bill and having a loud mouth? Y'all haven't been calm on anything. You haven't been calm on crap. So you better figure yourself out and you better get yourself together. So I'm gonna move you down to listener, and I'm gonna let someone else talk since we've been dealing with your dumbass for about damn near 30 minutes now. I'm gonna let someone else talk, and I want to hear someone else's opinion while you go read the bill. And after you've read the bill, you can come up and you can give us your opinion on it. But since you've spent the last 15 minutes where we were going to give you the space to speak on the bill that you haven't read, well, you've spent the last 15 minutes attacking me. You're out now. You're finished. Removed. Boop. Titan, you were going to speak, so we'd love to hear from you. If you're going to weigh in on the bill, which you don't have to, you can respond to Gabs or something. If you're going to weigh in on the bill, I do really hope you've read it. I really do.
Okay, I will be weighing in on the bill. I do want to say something from what Gab's point was early on, though, about school being just the space for education and academics, and other than that, it's just everything on your own. There's a degree to that I agree with, where the social aspect of school, it is on your shoulders and it kind of makes or breaks you. But at the same time, like Cora or whoever that person was saying, the social aspect is very important on the school playground. Like, when, if we're talking in terms of children, that's where a lot of people find who they are and find their interests, and it not even anything to do with sexuality, like things to do with, like, if they like Pokemon cards or recreational things like that. It's a lot
Well,
of, it's a
honey,
center.
the point I was trying to make was that the teachers are there to teach you academics, and so in in socializing is accidental. And socializing is a secondary aspect of that
Yeah,
happens accidentally. It's not something that the teachers, they allow you to socialize, and they supervise that and make sure that you're doing it without harming yourself. But it's not necessarily, and they facilitate a safe social environment. But they don't teach you who to be friends with. You know what I'm saying? Like, they teach you academics, and they allow you to pick your own social circles and
yeah,
that sort of
I
thing.
I
So
100% get
in
what
that,
you're saying with that.
yes, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that school is there first and foremost to teach you academia and
Yeah,
to educate you on reading, writing, and math and science, history, those sort of things, the fundamentals, so that you can grow up and provide for yourself.
that's true, but the thing is,
That's what academics is supposed to do. And
yeah,
all of the other things are secondary. First and foremost, it is to do that. And we can't
that's
even do that. So why are we putting all of these other things in the forefront? That's the point.
I understand that point, but in terms of the bill, if we're talking about teaching sexuality and things like that within the classrooms, where I do agree is that it would be better for these topics to be saved for when students are more mature to hear them, because us as kids, like, we take everything for jokes and everything, so it's probably not the best age for them to be hearing such strong and hard information as kids. But at the same time, if we're going the route where we're not teaching homosexual studies, in terms of sexuality, to kids that age, then we should not be pushing and imposing on
Hello.
heterosexual studies onto these kids as well. And hear me out when I say that, is because it's about it not being fair, but also it's gender identity and finding your sexuality and who you are interested in. Um that takes a part in it too. So the world is heterosexual. So as soon as children are brought into the world, the model home and the model family unit they see is one of a mother and a father in most cases, and that's what they believe that love looks like, and that's what believe it's supposed to look like. And when they go out in this world and they find out that, hey, they're not interested in these things, they're not interested in being with a woman if they're a man, or if they're not interested in being with a man if they're a woman, and it gets confusing. That's why it comes to a point where they need this part of education to just let them know that these are things that happen to people in life. We cannot keep denying that gay people exist. They exist.
Nobody denies it. It's in the media. It's on every single television show. There's now quotas by the Academy of Awards to have people in a certain number of gay people in movies, et cetera, et cetera. It's all around the world. So guess what? If I have a child, I don't want their education to be catered to a group that is less than 5% of the population that I'm actually a part of. We don't need to skew educate. We don't teach kids about straight people. There just happens to be a lot of straight couples. We don't teach them about straight people. That's who reproduces. That's who creates children. So if a man, a boy, grows up to be attracted to boys, they don't need to learn about it. It just is. And now they have all these movies, the media that pushes it to bolster them around, to bolster them. They don't need that from school.
Okay, I get what you're saying, Christian. What I will say is we're seeing this kind of push, um in your words, like in what many of you would think, this push about the gay agenda and everything in our like social media day and age. I would say that's solely due to the reason because everything's more visible now. We have social media, we have all, like, we have films, all these different things, more than we've ever had it before. And like I was saying before, gay people have always
So that's
existed,
why HR
but they were
departments have
just
training on this every year, is because
no,
everyone can talk about it now freely.
I'm not saying everyone.
That's
That's
why
not
we
what I'm
have
saying.
like
I'm
Pride
saying
Month or whatever, and gay pride parades, and as people like to say, doing it behind the dumpster.
yeah, but you have to take in these are all very recent things, and I'm talking in the last like probably 30 years. Like Stonewall.
It's
Most
not
of us
an
have
issue
lived for
of
the last 30 years, folks.
Yeah, it's
No,
not an
I'm
issue of
just
oh,
saying
it's more visible. It's an issue that it's being pushed more.
that's the thing. Before I feel like the reason why today in our age it's being quote, I wouldn't say it's being pushed, but quote unquote being pushed is because back then there was no visibility for these people. Like it's just like now it's the time where we are able
You
to
make
do
it sound
that
like
because the
everybody
world.
alive has been waiting for 30 years to just get it out of their system. When the
It's
truth
not
is,
the
for the last
90s
20 or
anymore.
30, have been told,
What do
go
you
for
mean
it, go for it.
visibility?
It's
But
not the 90s
but the thing,
anymore.
it's not
It's
Everyone
not the
exactly,
has
it's not the
always
90s.
known
90s
about gay
anymore. It has
people. That's
Everyone
nothing
has
new.
always known about.
I want to hear Pariah respond. She's making some good points. I'd just like to hear her respond real quick.
Oh my god, thanks, doll.
We love
Long
you,
time
Pariah.
friend, first time caller. I just want to say, um, I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I think that people who are childless and don't work in the school system have no idea what's going on at all. They don't want to know what's going on. They don't want to think about it because it's like a totally foreign thing to them that doesn't impact their daily lives at all. I actually do teach children. They are being constantly like forced these things and they are being brainwashed to think that like half of them are going to be gay when really it's literally 3% of the population that are innately congenital homosexuals. Almost like if you have a classroom of 20 students, none of them are going to be gay. Probably. Statistically speaking, that's true. If you force this into kids' heads, yes, they're going to think they're gay because they're prepubescent or midpubescent. They don't understand what sex is. So if you tell a feminine boy that he's a girl, he'll be like, okay, cool. I'm a girl. They will believe you. Kids are very trusting like that. I mean, I have gone into so many classrooms this past year with rainbow flags, with the Black Indigenous POC rainbow flags, with these picture books of children and like these pride themed, transgender themed picture books. It's real. It's not crazy conservatives making this shit
Can
up.
I ask you a question, Pariah?
You can go for it.
So, if a certain percentage of people are gay and they know this, why do they create programs and spend all this time hammering on people to convert them? In other words, if they're not going to really change them, what do you think their ultimate goal is for people who are not gay in these classes?
That's a good question. I think it comes down to demographics and who these ideas are really being pushed for. It's the same thing, like, because gay people are such a small portion of the population, when Democrats cater to them, they're not trying to get the gay vote because there is no gay vote. The gay vote has no power. They're really getting the middle class white woman vote who lives in the suburbs, who lives in the city and has no kids, who has no husband, who has been brainwashed with the social justice ideas.
Yeah,
That's who
I
they're
agree
winning
with you.
over.
But
The savior
but I guess
complex.
my concern
Exactly.
is there has to be the point of view of the kids who aren't gay, who are just being beaten on and broken down and forced into sort of like being political servants, of this whole message. If they're not gay, because that's all they can do, right? Otherwise, is just get hammered on endlessly, told where they belong, told what they're supposed to support. So it becomes a political program pretty quickly if you're not gay. Is that not
Yeah,
true?
because they're totally trying to subvert
That
nature.
can't be healthy for kids.
Pariah, where do you work?
Why would I tell you that? That's a stupid question. Leave the speakers.
Oh, well.
Pariah, I don't like that attitude.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Well, you're making like claims, and we just want to be able to back it up. Like, you don't have to.
Okay, again, for everyone, if you let me delete all these tweets that if you go to the Jumbotron on top and you go to the Libs of TikTok Twitter page, you can see video after video after video of teachers hanging rainbow flags in their classroom, of people hanging black trans flags in their classroom, of people hanging every flag but the American flag, of teachers talking about how they teach their kids gender theory. You can see video after video after video. So it doesn't really matter where Pariah works. We see it every day online. So I'm pretty sure if we're seeing it every day online, that Pariah is seeing it at the school or institution that she teaches at. I love when liberals go, oh, well, so where do you work? Can you give me an example? Yeah, the example's on Libs of TikTok Twitter page. Go right there.
It's super easy to find. It's everywhere. Even if I were lying about being a teacher, which I'm not, because I'm not stupid. I don't like give a shit what you think. It's everywhere. That's a dumb question. Plus, I'm not going to dox myself.
Plus, that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Can I answer the messenger's question?
Please.
That would be
You
great. Thank you.
you
Hi,
asked
Gabs.
about hey honey. You asked about what is this trying to do? Now I need y'all to stay with me here. You know, every every group has has bad actors and infiltrators, right? So the liberals have the progressives who have infiltrated the
Absolutely.
the liberal, with the liberal movement with illiberal ideas, right? And then conservatives have like the white identitarians and the supremacists and all of that stuff that have infiltrated with their disgusting ideas. Okay. One of the things that has happened with this particular situation is that unfortunately, and this is where everybody who is a member of the LGBT community should be concerned, is that y'all have been infiltrated by by the um by the community of people who are trying to legalize pedophilia. They're trying to turn pedophilia into a sexual orientation that will be protected by every law that protects gay people, and black people, and it protects, so that they will be able to get jobs in places where children are. Do y'all understand that y'all that me as a bisexual woman, being a member of the LGBT community my whole life, is has a real problem with allowing our community to be co-opted by these people who are trying to infiltrate in an attempt to normalize sexualizing children, because this is how that starts. Trying to speak to children as young as kindergarten and trying to talk to them. There's a sexy camp going on right now. Do y'all know this? There's a sexy camp in Kentucky where they're talking about how they're going to have hands-on discussions about sex and how to use toys and all that stuff
Oh
as young
God.
as 8 years old. Y'all, do you see that this is going on? I mean, in this fight and indoctrination, we have had to fend off all kinds of people who wanted to come in and infiltrate and co-opt our movement. All kinds of people trying to do that because they come in and say a couple of things that make sort of sense, and then they move the needle and keep moving the needle. That's exactly what happened to liberals with progressivism. And if you're not careful, in 5 years, y'all are going to be LGBTQ maps. You want that?
Period.
You want that? I don't think you do. I don't want that.
And it's interesting, all the people coming up who say, oh, well, this is just informational. Oh, I just want to have an open social life. When you take it into the classroom and you turn it into something political, it's like a political activism. And so what happens is what you're describing, this kind of sickness of, creating people to be, some sort of like LGTB plus. This is like a culture somehow. I don't know what the culture is, right? A pedophilic culture. But it is backed by political organizations, and it's a political activism play, basically. So now you're a little kid and you're not just dealing with, hey, information about sexuality that's like years away for you. You're basically being inculcated with this thing as a political position, and then what you're not supposed to oppose or you're going to be canceled. That's even more horrifying in 1984-ish than just shoving these things on people that are too young.
Period. Okay, I'd like to pop down to Guy Mon, or Guy Montag, and then go to Mills, who apparently is going to debate me. Yeah, you won't. Okay, let's go to Guy Montag, and then we'll go to Mills.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, perfect. I'm kind of new to this. Started playing video games on the side at the same time. It's pretty interesting. Thanks for letting me talk. Just quick questions. I have this a little bit of a side note. I don't go on TikTok, this Libs of TikTok thing. What's the background behind that video you posted? What is that? Is that a club or is that a class? What is that?
The video where Chasten Buttigieg is leading children in a Pledge of Allegiance to the rainbow flag. It's pretty self-explanatory.
So is it like an after school program? Is it like a normal class? You know what I mean?
I don't know. All I see is that he's in a classroom with school children leading a rainbow flag Pledge of Allegiance. So that's what I know.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, I was just curious. It kind of looked like an after-school program for queer kids that, I in my school, I'm a little far removed from all of that. Gay dude here, that's my bias. I'm a little conservative-minded. But I think things like that are actually really positive for students, to be perfectly honest.
For kindergartners through third graders, we're talking about the Florida bill. You're gonna have to unmute. I'm on tab.
Yeah, so the Florida bill, I mean, I think that's I can definitely see both sides.
Have you
So kind
read
of
the
your
bill?
side. Oh, did I read the bill? No, I only read synopsises.
Okay, so I'm excited to hear your opinion on the bill you haven't read.
Okay. So I think it's I think it makes sense. The reason why they put it in, it doesn't make sense to have, sex education in K through third grade. But I also think the other point where it kind of sets a precedent to sort of, increase this homophobic culture at a very young age.
What's homophobic about not teaching kids about sex? You're gonna have to unmute again.
Sorry, I definitely see your argument you're making. I think it's pretty obvious to anybody on this chat that teaching sex ed to third graders and younger is pretty inappropriate.
Yeah, so I want to understand you seeing the other side. You said it's dangerous because it could set a precedent of or homophobic matters or whatever. What is that precedent if there's nothing homophobic about the bill? The bill is just common sense and that children shouldn't be learning about sexual matters. That's what the bill is. Nothing to do. I mean, we had the one gentleman come up who said he grew up in a homophobic household and wanted to put his bias on the bill. But his bias is kind of irrelevant. That has nothing to do with the bill. The bill is just not teaching kindergartners through third graders about sex and gender ideology and all this.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying there. So I think the guy that you were kind of debating with a little bit ago, what was it, like Berticelli, something like that?
Oh, yeah, Borticelli.
Yeah, so I actually think he brings up a really important point that we see a lot in legislation in America, where, kind of these bills, that seem really safe and make a lot of sense, they get passed very easily. Like, oh yeah, let's not teach sex ed to K through third graders. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Everybody will vote for it. It'll pass. It did pass in Florida. Everybody agrees on it. We're on the same page. But
Do you have some examples?
there's sort of this upward. I don't, honestly. I'm
So you
not
just made it sound.
If you come into my space, know some shit. Hasn't read the bill, doesn't have an example. See, this is what liberals do. It's a scare tactic. Oh, well, this bill could lead to something else really bad because we see that in history a lot. Okay, then give us an example. Give us an example. Tell us about the bill if you've read it. You haven't read the bill. You have no example of other bills that started out as something innocent and then turned into something really big and scary. So if you have no examples, if you have no material, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'd rather go to Mills, who is apparently going to debate me on her Twitter. She asked her Twitter followers, I'm about to debate Herschel Walker. Should I do it or not? So I'm excited to hear from her. But I'm thinking she's going to bring me something good. I'm thinking she's at least going to bring me some material. Guy Montag, can you bring me any material, or are we just going to do this? I don't know. I haven't read the bill. I don't have an example. I'm going to need just a little something from you. An appetizer. Something.
All right. So I think I can talk now. Yeah. So an example that comes to mind actually is I think this is probably not a group that's going to be really happy about this, but abortion legislation, right? So let's bring up how abortion legislation, where at first we're saying, okay, no late term abortions. Everybody says, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's pass that. And then once that's passed, we say, okay, well, let's not do any 23-week abortions, right? And then all of a sudden Texas starts kind of
He's
squeezing in
definitely
this
not going to go back to
legislation.
1950 on this argument.
So, so I'm just like, you wanted an example. So there's lots of examples in our legislation in the United States of America where there is kind of this creep towards more and more restrictive legislation, kind of getting your foot in the door with these like really obvious, like really easy decision legislations. I think what Berticelli was trying to say earlier, but I think you cut him off, was that the concern is that yes, this legislation makes perfect sense, but does this leave the door open to kind of saying, okay, well, let's not talk about it, for fifth grade and below. Let's not talk about it for middle schoolers. Let's not talk
Why
about
do
it
you
for
need
high
to say it
schoolers.
all?
Okay, so let's go ahead and play like it's 10th grade and below. I'm for that. I'm all for it. So is there an issue with with kids being left to learn about gender ideology and sex and everything on Instagram and from their parents instead of from
I actually
publicly
do.
funded institutions?
I really do want to talk about that point. I think this is really important.
Okay, and then I
Because
want to go to
there's a lot
Mills.
of
Mills
there's
is going to
actually
debate me.
there's a good amount of evidence actually that if you don't have sex education in schools, and this would include homosexual education, to be perfectly honest, that children, whatever way they're leaning, they're going to figure out a way to learn about it, right? And so one of the really big issues is learning about it from pornography, which tends to portray really violent sexual actions and tends to make kids think, oh,
Okay, so we're talking about it more now than we are in the 60s. Yet STD rates are higher now. Um, teen pregnancies higher now. Father absence higher now. So how is talking about it changing anything?
sorry. So that's actually incorrect information you just quoted. It's very generalizing. So there's actually lots of evidence where if you teach sex education in schools and protection, obviously, that sexually transmitted infections do decrease, and actually underage teen pregnancy does decrease as well. And actually, there's
Where's
a
the
lot of
evidence? Give me
states.
evidence.
So
It's
just
very
go on
high
Google.
in California where
Okay.
it's taught.
So what school districts? Can you give me
LA
school
County.
districts? Can you
LA
give me
County.
school districts?
LA ISD,
He
LA
just
County.
did.
So I think it's really important for everybody to realize though that so this is like we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here. But what I'm just saying though, kind of bringing it back to
God,
this
can you just make your
legislation.
point, please?
Bringing back to this legislation, I don't think anybody really needs to disagree with this legislation. I understand that it's definitely a leftist kind of pandering talking point. But
I just want to be clear. So I was going down the rabbit hole with you, and then when you saw I was going to go there with you, and I had my shit together, you went back to being on topic. Okay, so finish your point, and then I want to go to Mills because you haven't even read the fucking bill, and I'm tired now.
Oh my god, the second you pull out the receipt.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so two things. I will finish my point then. I didn't want to get too carried away, but there's lots of evidence, though, when schools did remove sex education for high schools. I honestly don't know what age group it was. That STI rates actually significantly increased and teen pregnancies
What
increased.
school district? Like you
Yeah.
asked me, do you know the school
I don't know off
district?
the top of my head. It's not part of.
Okay, so you don't know anything. You wanted me to bring out a school district, which I had for you. You wanted me to bring out stuff. You haven't read the bill. You don't have examples. You don't have anything. So get out. Ah, wow. So over these people. Mills, since you tweeted you were going to debate me, we'd love to hear from you since you have so much to say. And remember, we're talking about the bill. So to start, have you read the bill, Mills? And if you have, I'm going to test you on it. So answer us that first.
I have read some of the bill.
You haven't read all the bill, but you're going to debate me. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to debate you on the concept itself of it banning, like, just the mentioning of gays in education.
It doesn't mention oh, yes, in education, in the curriculum, not at school.
Yeah, like in the curriculum. That's what I was saying. So we established that, right? Like, that's at least
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Okay. So obviously, homosexuality is a sexuality, and heterosexuality is also a sexuality. Yet we are totally fine on preaching about or teaching. I mean, not preaching.
No,
teaching.
they're not teaching it.
Yes,
they're not teaching it.
Yes, they are. Like, is not
How
Romeo
so?
and Juliet? Is not Romeo and Juliet a heterosexual story?
Kindergartners through third graders don't read Romeo and Juliet. I read that in 10th grade or 9th
Well,
grade.
don't they read love stories though in that age? So they acknowledge that heterosexuality exists. Is that okay?
That heterosexuality exists? Yeah, it's about princesses and princes. Yes.
Yeah. So if that's okay, then why, like, can't they not teach, like, homosexuality the same concept? Like, what makes heterosexuality more superior to homosexuality?
Because it reproduces, and 97% of the population is heterosexual. So it's just
Christian, aren't you gay?
Sure, but 97% of the population
so do you think you're lesser than heterosexuals?
Wait, what?
Christian,
wait,
do you love yourself?
Wait, ask your question. Ask your question again. I didn't hear you. Unmute.
Do you think you're less than heterosexuals?
No, but I don't think my sexuality should be catered to.
Said that
No.
Yes.
No, I don't believe my sexuality should be catered to because I'm less than 3% of the population. I don't reproduce, so I should not be catered to. No.
So do you think we shouldn't be teaching about indigenous people then, since they're less than 3% of the population? Like, that's ridiculous.
Race is a lot different than sexuality, ma'am.
No.
Race is a lot different than sexuality. You can't choose your race. And I'm not saying you can choose who you're attracted to. You can choose who you lie down with. Yes, absolutely. You can choose who you sleep with. You can't choose who you're attracted to. You cannot hide the fact that you're Black, indigenous, whatever. So big difference between sexuality and race. And it's actually quite offensive when white liberals like you try to intermingle the two.
You don't have sex in the kindergarten.
No, you don't have sex in the kindergarten.
But you have Black people in kindergarten.
You have Black people in
kindergarten.
kindergarten.
Neither do heterosexual kids too. Neither do the heterosexual kids, but they're introduced to heterosexuality at a young age. And so
they're not introduced.
Sis, have you ever read the Bible?
Yes, and there's plenty of heterosexual sex and mentionings there. Actually, pretty graphic too.
It's literally what made them.
Yeah, because it's the normal. It's normative.
But so is heterosexual.
In our nature.
I mean, homosexuality too.
No, it's not. It's that's
yes,
against
it is.
nature. No,
it's against nature, Mills.
This is exactly what happens
not against
when
nature,
you take God
Christian.
out of the classroom.
You're not. Homosexuality is not against nature.
It doesn't reproduce. If everyone was a homosexual, we wouldn't have a civilization.
We would die
that
out.
doesn't matter. if I'm a heterosexual and I choose not to reproduce, am I less human?
Nobody said homosexuals were less human. Nobody said homosexuals were less human. So you just made that the fuck up.
This is
Now-
exactly how liberals catastrophize every argument.
Okay,
that
so
humans
let's
and
make. But I
exaggerate
think.
it.
Do you mean lesser than status? Is that a better way to put it?
She's
No,
just
nobody
gonna
said.
slap you. And she's just
No,
No.
nobody said
Literally
no
lesser
one
said
than.
Then how would you describe or homosexuality to heterosexuality then, as in status? You said that it's unnatural. Do you?
Yes, that heterosexuals reproduce and create civilization. So that's what I would say to that.
But again, it's just like I don't think. Like I guess.
What don't you think, Mills?
Heterosexuality has a function that creates life. Homosexuality does not. It is simply about pleasure.
But you
That is the difference.
Bill.
But they can still reproduce
Bill.
though with
No,
each
they
other
can
if they want to.
they
No,
cannot
they can't
reproduce
reproduce with
I
together.
mean,
each
not
other,
with like
Mills.
other
They
like of
cannot
the same
reproduce
sex, but even
together.
then there's still trans people who
You've
can
been watching too
reproduce.
many videos of Pete Buttigieg and his little buddy on the swing, dropping the baby on the ground.
No, I don't even like Pete either.
Mills, okay, so you've taken us around the loop into a different neighborhood, and now we've ended up in Saudi Arabia. We're in a different country. Okay, so let's get back on track. Heterosexuals can reproduce. Heterosexuals have a function in society. So that's why education, or that's why there's princesses and princes.
But still, there's still homosexuality is still important. And again, we have
Mills, we don't want to hear your activism. The bill bans curriculum that's sexual in nature from kindergartners to third grade. Get back on topic since you were going to come up in here and debate me. You're not debating anything right now. You're making up shit.
I am not making up stuff.
Yes, let's get back
I'm
to the
asking you
bill. Let's get
questions
back to the
about.
bill. We explained to you why there's princesses and princes in kindergarten stories. So now
Can you
push back on that or get out.
Can you not interrupt me first?
No, if you stay on topic, I won't. But if you get off topic, I'm going to come in.
Okay, I am just simply talking about the ethics and like what we already have in society. We already discussed some kind of romantic attraction in schools, and kids are fine, except of course when we don't have sex education, it tends to raise up the teen pregnancy. But yeah, that's again, we're only talking about the first grade to third
All
grade right
kinds of
now.
stuff in life shows up around, right? They don't go around and go, let's build stories for little kids about romance and push it on them. There's no,
You,
oh, I can't wait to grow up and be a heterosexual. Daddy told me at school today that I was going to grow up to be a heterosexual.
no,
It just,
what do you
it
mean?
just
Kids
appears
say,
like brushing
kids
your
say
teeth
all
or
the
anything else
time that
that's
they
normal just
want to get
shows up.
married at a
What
very
you
young
want
age.
is
What
to
are you
sell
talking
this
about?
shit, sweetie. And the question is, why do you want to sell this shit? Can you explain that?
What do you mean? I'm not selling anything. I have no clue
You
what you're
don't want
talking
this
about because
bill. This bill
you're
just tried to
talking
stop them
over
from
me. I
politicizing
can't
and
hear you
selling homosexuality.
because I'm
Why
trying to
do we
say
need to sell
something.
it?
I'm not
Hello? Why do we
I'm
need to
not
sell it? That's what you're arguing for.
selling hell. I'm not selling anything, okay?
Well, then
I'm
you love the
selling
bill,
cracker
and let's
cards
extend it to
for
K through
$5.
12 since you're all for it. Thank you.
No,
Hang on,
What a
Mills. Do you
fantastic
have any
arguer.
children? Do you
I
have
don't have
any
any
children?
children yet, but
Well,
I am maybe getting some in the future, maybe not. I'm just wait. If I find the right partner, then it's good.
okay.
If I don't,
I have children. I have 5 children. 2 of my children are gay. I am bisexual. I was I was engaged to a cross dresser for years. We went and got manis and petties together, honey. There's no homophobia nowhere in here. I do not want my kindergartner learning about hetero or homosexual engagement at all. You understand it? K through 12, I mean,
I
K through
understand that.
3, period. I don't want my kids learning about that, especially from some rando that I don't know from Adam. That is my job to teach them that stuff. And and if the fact that their books have a man and a woman in them, just like they got green monsters and purple, dinosaurs and whatnot, that's all part of growing up. And I understand how it can be annoying that there may not be two mommies in a book, or two daddies in a book, or whatever. And I do take issue with that a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that this is a slippery slope. And some people's kids are not ready for that. And we don't talk about a lot of things in the in areas of K through 3, because it's just too complicated a subject for those ages. And those ages are delicate, and they need to be dealt with by their parents, not by teachers.
But still, like, there's still stories that we
No,
tell our kids.
there's no but still. Do not
But
talk to my child about shit that is none of their business. It's none of their business, and it's not your motherfucking business to tell me what I can and cannot expose my kid to. You
Woo!
got that? Period.
Amen.
If I
You're
could
right.
jump in a little bit, I think maybe some of the complexity is stemming from how stories present individuals as people in roles versus the actual desire and sexuality are actually two very different things. So when you see a mom and a dad in a story and they're going to take their child to the playground, that child doesn't look at that content and go, that man likes to stick his penis in her vagina. And
Chapter
exactly.
2, let's go
I
to the
can do that
bedroom.
with my body. Those are concepts that come much farther on. Now, if you had a child's story where you had two dads taking their child to a playground, content wise, that is astronomically different than talking to that child and saying, "Hey, what do you like? Do you like boys or girls?" That those are role questions that they love their friends that are boys and girls. They're not saying they don't even comprehend the attraction aspect of those things. Those are very nuanced, intimate things which a parent will engage with them regularly as they get older. I've got two kids, and questions of marriage and things come up, but my kids are not asking, what do I want and what is this sexual desire? It's not sexual desire yet. It's looking at people in roles. So I don't know if that helps frame this in any way. But that's what I'm hearing. We're dancing around kind of two different things, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's like the kind of point that I'm putting, is that there is stages in which we introduce sexuality and like romanticism and gender to people. We kind of, again, go and see like there's a mommy and daddy together, but again, we don't go to that kind of extreme yet. Like until they, of course, they get older. But this bill is removing just homosexuality and like transgenderism, even though they exist in their society. And like all of you said, it's everywhere. But they do need some place in order to explain it. And sometimes, like again, like the people, like that guy who mentioned earlier, like they said that they again couldn't get it from their.
That's the parent's business if they don't want their child understanding that at that young age. That is the parent's business. When a parent has a child, the parent gets to raise their child. And just because you have an issue and you take issue with how a certain parent raises their child doesn't give you the right to step in and strong arm and push your agenda down that child's throat. It's up to the parent.
Yeah, but some parents are abusive though. Like it's not, there's a certain extent in which you can like say that like parents can do whatever the heck they want or tell whatever their kids they want. Like some parents tell their kids to go kill themselves.
Mills, shut the fuck up. Not teaching your children about the rainbow cult isn't abusive. So don't even compare the two things.
It's not a cult or anything. No.
It's a cult to me.
No.
Chris, aren't you a
Is that
part
your
of the
argument?
rainbow?
It's a cult to me.
It's a cult and it's a religion.
No, it's neither of those things. But anyway, okay.
It's both.
It's not both. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Mills, I'm tired. I want Daya to respond. Then I want to go to birthing hips or whatever, and then I want to go to Kaleem. Daya?
I just wanted to say that, like, what Mills said was actually, like, very offensive, how they love to conflate race and sexuality when race is innate. I can't hide the fact that I'm black. I can't hide the fact that you can't hide the fact that you're white, but what we can do is hide the fact that, oh, we don't have to tell people about sexuality when we are born to the race that we are born. I did not choose to be black. You did not choose to be whatever, but the thing is, you do choose who you sleep with. You do choose who you lay with. I did not choose to be this way. So for you to conflate the two, that, oh, so just because gay is 3% of the population, well, should we not teach about them because natives have a small population? That's is insane. So I just want her to respond to that.
May I
Beautiful,
respond?
Jaya. Thanks.
Is it all right for me to respond?
Yeah, and then we're going to birthing hips.
Okay, thank you. No, I don't mean to. Well, the thing is, it's like you actually can't hide being gay, and if you do, then it's just going to ruin your life. It's shown that it's ruined its mental health.
You don't need to run around sleeping with people in public. So,
No,
I know a
but
lot
most
of
gay people don't.
I
Do
know a
you?
lot of feminine men who are like straight or more feminine
But
men. So
that's not what
gayness
you
is
do.
different
So
from
you're already
race.
an example of it.
Okay,
Like,
Mills, gayness is different than race. Do you agree or not agree? You're a white liberal who
yes,
wants to
that
conflate
is completely
everything
true. It
and
is two different.
take away from racial struggles. Like typical white liberals conflate every issue.
But the thing is, it's just
There's no thing. There's no thing. And we've got your point. We understand how you feel. Thank you for demonstrating how a certain portion of the population, albeit I would say small, which we'll see in November, thinks that children should be taught dirty things. I think that's atrocious. I
but
think
we
it's
established
abhorrent.
that they're not. That
I
we're not
think
teaching them dirty
no,
things.
we have established that they are, and you, my friend, maybe as you grow older and have kids of your own, will have a different view. But right now, I hope you do not have any children, and I hope it stays that way until you can reflect a little more. Birthing hips, we're gonna go to you.
Okay, I think it's this time that we should start talking about facts and what the reality are in the situation.
Oh, bring us the facts. So let's talk about facts. Have you read the bill, Boo?
Have you ever worked on Capitol Hill? Have you ever worked in a political organization?
Have you read the fucking bill or not? Have you read the bill? Have you read the bill? Oh, you haven't read the bill. Have you read the bill? Have you read the bill?
I have read the bill. Would you like me to speak, or are you going to cut me off because you?
This is my birthing hips. This is my fucking space. Well, I don't know if you've ever been in one of my space. I'll do whatever I want. And if you don't like it, you can go hold a space with your little 2,800 followers. So I'll cut you off when I want to cut you off. You came in my space talking about, let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the facts. So I was just asking you a question since this is Christian Walker's space. Do you see how I'm the host? It's my space. If I want to kick you out in the middle of you talking, I'm going to do that. I will do it. So when I ask you a question, you will answer without an attitude or you'll just be out. Have a debate, answer my question. There's been a lot of people on your side who've come up in my space who haven't read the bill. So I was just making sure if you wanted to talk about the facts that you've read the bill.
I've read the bill.
Thank God.
People that are gay, people that are trans, people that are some variation of a different orientation than heterosexual exist in society.
The bill doesn't say that they don't exist. The bill doesn't say that they don't exist. The bill doesn't say that they don't exist. The bill doesn't ban gay people from going to school. The bill doesn't say that they don't exist.
And I would have gotten to that point if you wouldn't have cut me off. But let's continue. So we know these people exist in society. We have tried with this heteronormative norm that we're going to.
Heteronormative norm. No, it's not just, it's not like it's some norm. No, this is what reproduces. This is how people reproduce. This is what the majority of the population is. So it's not some heteronormative norm as though like we're trying to push this on people. No, it just is. It's just how nature works. It's just how things work.
It's not normative.
So the
it's just
consequences
normal.
of The consequences of ignoring that gay people exist and ignoring that we need to teach people and make sure that people have an understanding that they exist and have value in the world
Nobody
is
said
that
they
when
don't
they exist in
exist.
spaces, and people try to ignore that, then they are prey for predators. So I would choose
Huh?
to educate. Yeah, huh?
No, I didn't hear. I didn't understand.
Let's.
Okay, you're gonna slow the fuck down. I didn't hear what you fucking said. So repeat what you said. Because nobody heard you. Because you were getting too worked up and talking too fast. What about predators? Go back. Go back. We didn't hear you.
Predators. You know, predators, people that prey on.
What was the point before that? How did you get to the predator word? If you're standing up for this bill, how did you get to that word when you're not even on our side? No, we are worried about predators.
Okay, we have tried what you have done for centuries. And not protecting kids, acting as if homosexuality does not exist, does not.
I'm not going to have a conversation with you when you're talking about crap that's not in the bill. The bill is not about pretending that gay people don't exist. It's about not pushing gender theory and rainbow cult theory on children in kindergarten through third grade. You will focus on the bill or you're out.
Okay, so once again, you're ignoring the fact that LGBT people exist. So let me give you an
How
example.
am I ignoring
let
it?
me let me give you an example.
How am I ignoring it?
Let me give you an example. So
Of
let's
how I'm
say that
ignoring
you.
it?
Can I give you an example? You
Of
asked me a
how I'm
question. Can I
ignoring it?
answer the
Yes or no?
question? You asked me a question. May I answer the
Yes,
question, or are
how
you
am
going
I
to cut me off?
ignoring it? Yes, how am I
Okay,
ignoring it?
okay. So let me give you an example to answer your question. So we have
Please
an
do.
example. We have example of centuries of education in this country where gays are ignored, where we act like homosexuality does not exist, and where those kids are left in a position where they are alone, where they don't have a person to relate to or an understanding of what this person looks like when I'm a grown person. And that leaves them prey to people that come and attack them, that come and take advantage of them. It leads to parents like this person that's to the right on me on this space that disown their kids, that allowed the streets to raise their kids instead of.
Messenger, you disowned your kid? Huh?
No, I didn't say that. And in no point did I state that. What
You
I'm
said
stating
something
is that
about
the
to the right
policies
of
in which
you
you're
where the
what I am stating is that the policies in which you're producing, we've already seen the negative results of that. We see the fact that homeless kids in this country are predominantly LGBTQ. A lot of them are people of color like you. A lot of them are people that are like you, but they are not in the socioeconomic status that you're in. So we've seen
Who
the
are you
negative
Wait a minute.
saying
You're
consequences of
going to
what we're
try to
disown the
pushing.
take the whole
children?
world, all the world's problems, and then you're going to solve it by making teachers
I
into
don't
gay
live in all the
activists?
world. I thought y'all were conservatives. I don't live in the whole world. I'm talking about here in the United
You're bringing
States.
all this
And here,
other stuff up
I'm
that's
talking
unrelated to
about here in the
schools,
United States.
and you're
I
trying to
care about
explain why if I teach
let
gay
Messenger
stuff in
make his point.
schools, then that's going to solve
I care
something.
about kids in the United States. And I don't hear anybody up here that's talking about that they care about the kids in this country. I care. None
Sir,
of.
Okay, I just like everyone to see this is what a deranged Democrat looks like. Going off on tangents, not talking about the bill, making shit up, not even talking about the problem at hand. Talking about every problem in America, it can be lumped into the fact that kindergartners through third graders aren't being taught about sexuality. And he thinks if he yells about it enough and says we don't care about kids enough, we're going to believe him. No, sir. All those problems you talked about have nothing to do with kids in kindergarten through third grade not being taught sexual matters. Okay, so let's focus on the bill. Let's focus on the bill.
We've seen
Can
the
I respond to
consequences.
birthing?
We've seen the consequences of what you stated. Your dad is running for the Senate in Georgia. Atlanta has the second largest homeless population of youth in the country. It has the second largest LGBT youth homeless population in the country. It
What
has
does that
the
have to do with the
largest
bill?
black, and excuse me, I'm still speaking. The
So what does
largest.
that?
You're about to not be speaking. We're talking about the bill. Get back to the bill.
So we have evidence that
There's
teaching
no
kids
evidence.
about
You're
we.
just yammering about various problems and saying, "Oh,
Okay,
it's been
so
so
we have
fucked up
evidence
forever."
that
What's the evidence?
teaching kids people about people that are different.
What's the evidence?
Since we've introduced education that speaks to people that are different from them, we've seen a massive drop in
You can't just
suicide
say
for
we
people
have
that.
evidence without
Sir,
providing
let me
it.
ask you a
Oh, I can
question.
post evidence. I can post
Let me
evidence.
ask
I've
you
already
a
posted some of the things
question,
already,
since you don't want to talk about the
like the
bill.
child pregnancy rates being sky high, which is another lie. So your father's running for the Senate in Georgia. That was an issue there, that we have a large homeless population there, young.
What does this have to do with not teaching kindergartners through third graders about sexual matters?
Once
You can't
again,
talk
we
about the
have
bill because you haven't
evidence
read the
that
bill and you don't want to talk about.
What's the evidence, and what does this have to do with teaching kindergartners through third graders about sexual matters?
at no point in that bill and no point in any place in society are we teaching kids about sex at that point. But showing
Because you
people that
haven't read it.
LGBT people exist is different from people having sex. Nowhere in that bill does it say that people are teaching people about sex, and there's no evidence of anybody at the third grade or below that are teaching kids about sex. So let's make sure that we clarify.
If there's no evidence of people third grade and below teaching kids about sex, why do you have an issue with the bill?
My issue with the bill is the bill also bans the teaching of relationships that are different than heterosexual and those kids. And the fact that two dads exist or two women exist is something that's a reality for kids in this country. It's also a reality that many of those kids are going to be the prey for people that do not give them the opportunity to learn that there are other people that are different in society, and those people are welcome in this society. So as I said again, your father is running for the Senate. He's running in a state that has a large LGBT population. So I want to know why you're not.
You can't even hold your head up, buddy.
I can hold my head up
now.
I can hold my head up.
You can't even find a starting point for your argument. You're not
the
even
starting
talking
point is
about your
very
point in
clear.
hand.
There's evidence.
You're blabbering about evidence. You're just a loser, dude. I'm sorry.
Your daddy's
Hang it
a
up.
loser.
Why do you want to groom kids? Why do you
So
want to
let's-
groom kids so bad?
Not grooming. Here's the situation.
Are you grooming people?
No,
Why
is your
has
daddy
there been
grooming
such
people?
an
Is your daddy
increase
grooming people?
in LGBT?
This guy, first of all, get on an effing treadmill. I wasn't even talking. My friend Messenger was talking to you. Treadmill. You know, working out helps you really alleviate some stress, and you seem like you have a lot of tension in your life. We're talking about a bill in Florida. We're talking about a specific matter. Do not bring my dad into this. This has nothing to do with my dad. I'm not my dad. So just shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry I triggered his fat ass.
Let's get back to reality. Let's get back to reality.
Go for it. I'd love to see that.
Let's
get back
reality.
to the bill.
The facts are the facts are the facts. Since we've introduced education that shows people that there are other lifestyles that exist, that other orientations that exist in this society besides heterosexual, the rates of violence against people that are homosexual has decreased. The rate of suicides among people that are LGBT has decreased.
Bullshit.
Wrong.
No, it's the fact. It is an actual fact.
It's wrong.
Homelessness among LGBT
Why do you
people
think that
has
since
decreased.
introducing
So
this
again,
sort of education into the school system, there's been a
because the
tenfold
consequences
increase
of not doing
in
that
the
are kids
number of
being
LGBT
assaulted by people like you.
in such a short amount
The
of time.
consequences of not doing that are people being assaulted by people like you. People being thrown out of their houses.
Okay, so birthing people or whatever thinks that people getting assaulted is because we're not teaching kindergartners through third graders about sexual matters. That's how Democrats make connections. If you make another unintelligent comment, I'm gonna throw you out and go to my classmate, who is a whole nother story. But you have one more chance to make a sane point, but you've proven you really can't do that. I'm gonna give you one last chance.
I think I'm gonna close with this. It's really important during this time that we look towards evidence and see what the reason.
You've provided no evidence, sir.
Okay.
Read the bill first.
I've read the bill. I've read the bill. I've read the bill. The bill does not allow the teaching of any other relationship besides heterosexual relationships. There are other relationships, especially in people in Florida, that exist besides people that are in heterosexual relationships. The price of not doing that leads to a world where those kids are left to be prey, where they're praised for pedophilia.
No, it doesn't. I'm so sick of this guy. I can't. Okay, let me just remove him. I really don't like low IQ, and I don't like idiotic comments, and I don't like failure or not being able to make connections. So he just had to go. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, a treadmill and broccoli will do wonders for your brain. I promise you. Okay, so I've had Kaleem in a space before. He goes to my school, UCLA. He's very aggressive, so I'm hoping today he's going to be a little sweeter and kinder. Love his name. Let's see if I love his attitude today. Kaleem, you're up.
Hello. Hi,
Hey.
everybody. Okay. So I do want to start off. I have read the bill, so you rest assured that I have read the
Oh
bill.
my gosh, it's the first liberal that's come up that's read the bill! Oh my god!
Wait till she proves it.
Okay. So I'm gonna just say my standpoints on it. So I do agree with some parts of it, and I disagree with some parts. So I'm gonna go into the ones I agree with, and I'll go into the ones I disagree with.
Kaleem, I'd love to just admire that you're being so much sweeter and calmer today. You didn't come in like a
Yes.
deranged blue-haired lib.
Yeah. I made sure to have all my factual evidence. I understand your spaces now, so I know where to come from, what to kind of get at. But anyways, I'm gonna get straight to the point. I do feel that sexuality shouldn't be taught to kindergartners, because I do feel that at that age, um, kindergartners don't really understand. They're not fully, like, their brains aren't fully matured yet. They don't understand different things. They don't understand their sexuality yet. At that point, they're experiencing. They don't fully um, know what's going on with their sexuality. So I do feel that teachers um, kind of pushing that onto them, I feel like it's not okay. I feel like that at that important age they shouldn't. But I do feel that in high school it should be taught, because we teach sex ed in high
We're
school.
discussing the bill, Kaleem. This doesn't even expand to high school.
Okay, straight to the bill, right? So I do
She
feel
hasn't
that
read the bill. She hasn't read the bill.
Okay. So I do feel that sexuality obviously shouldn't be taught in kindergarten. But I do feel that the bill, because at kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, obviously you're not fully informed. But I do feel that it could also help the students to learn, because at that age, you really don't know your sexuality. You know your sexuality, but you aren't fully informed on it. So I do feel that it helps the students to express themselves and get more knowledgeable. And I feel like teachers, obviously, they lived more and they understand um, different topics that obviously the kindergartners wouldn't understand, or the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade wouldn't be fully informed on. So I do feel at that point, I guess the teachers kind of encouraging them and letting them know about the bill, or like teaching them about their sexuality would help. However, I do feel that on the other end of it, I do feel that there shouldn't be like a pressure to like express yourself. Or there shouldn't be a pressure to like, because there's a lot of students too that are obviously straight, and there's a lot of students that obviously are gay or bisexual. There are straight students, so I don't want those students to feel uncomfortable in the situation.
Kaleem, I think it's just time you admit that you agree with the conservatives on this, because guess what? Kids can still, under this bill, they can go in and talk about whatever they want. It's just simply not in the curriculum because it's inappropriate for kindergartners through third graders to be talking about it. They want to talk about it at home, go off, go do
Right.
it. But it's just not kindergarten through third grade. I just have to applaud you again. You're not being nasty today. You're being so sweet. I'm gonna die. I love it.
Okay. But yeah, I do feel, again, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I agree with some parts of it and I also disagree with some parts of it. But
No, I feel like you just don't want to admit that you agree with us. What part don't you agree with? Like, you just hate the fact that you actually agree with the conservatives on this. It's fine. It's fine. Your side has gone nuts. It's fine to disagree with them.
no, like me, I see two sides of the story. I don't just fully fixate myself on one side and don't look at the
No,
other
I
side.
understand the other side, but the other side is teaching kindergartners through third graders about sexual matters. I understand the other side. I see the other side. I don't agree with it.
Okay, so the wrong side that I feel of the bill, I do feel that outing. So basically, obviously, at a young age, we're focusing on kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. You don't
Where
even the
does
students
outing come into the
themselves.
bill, Kareem?
He
I'm
didn't read
sorry.
the bill.
So
I'm
you
sorry.
didn't read the bill because
It's
you're
not in
saying
the
there's
bill.
outing.
What?
It's not in the bill, sweetie.
Okay. I do feel that
Can you
students
tie your
at that
shoelaces
age,
clean?
they shouldn't.
Tie
The
your
teachers.
shoelaces on camera.
I'm sorry.
Can you tie your shoelaces?
Yeah.
Tie them.
Okay.
Just
And then can
checking
I
Oh,
since
talk
you're having
after I
gross.
trouble
tie them?
reading.
I'm sorry.